So in earlier lecture, we authenticated Google API with Salesforce. And here in this lecture, we are going to create an event dynamically with the dynamic values. So what we are going to do is we will create an event in Salesforce event object. We all know that we have an standard object called event inside Salesforce. So we are going to create that event, and then we will create an event trigger and its helper class, which will fetch the data of created event, and that with the help of that data we will create an Google event, so that whenever we are creating an event inside Salesforce, it is going to create an event inside Google Calendar itself. So how we are going to do that is, first thing, we need to create a trigger. Okay, so we have created a trigger which is very simple. The event is after insert. Why? Because we wanted to know that event has been created, and then only we can create inside Salesforce. I'm sorry, inside Google. So we have event handler over here. That means we have created one event handler as well. So you can see here we have got this event handler. But before that, if you have seen that, right, we are sending only one, right? So what we are doing is we are avoiding the bulk over here. So we are saying if either this trigger is created by the events are created by a batch process, or the events are created by a future process, we want to avoid those. Why? Because we are trying to make a future call out over here, and we cannot make a future from a future, and we cannot call a future from a batch. So that is why we are just trying to avoid over here. And then we are saying that give us the detail of the newly created event that has been just created, and then pass that into the method called create event in Google. Okay, and this is our handler. So as we know that we cannot pass, we cannot make an API callout from a trigger, and the reason behind that is an API callout can take too much time, which may trigger to the limitation of Salesforce, which is CPU time limit exceeded, that is of 60 seconds. So to avoid that, we to just to avoid that end user don't see that error, Salesforce has introduced a new concept where we need to make a future API callout while we are trying to make the callout from a trigger. So we just created a future annotation over here. We said that callout equal to true. Now this method is accepting one parameter, again the event ID that we already in our event trigger. And then what we did is we just queried the details which we need. What details we need is we can see from the body, the sample body that we have. So you can see that this is the body that we sent earlier, right? We need the email. So this time what we said is we need the owner email. So we just is that owner ID. And then what we need is we need end date time, we need start date time, the subject, and the location. The location is as it is, we are going to use the same location over here, but subject we are going to replace end date time, we are going to replace start date time, and this email as well. And you might also see, right, in the event, when you try to create an event inside Salesforce object, you might see there is a checkbox called all day event, right? If you say that all day and this time has been grayed out, that means now these are the dates that you get. If you want to get that, then you have the fields called start date and end date. So if you use start date time, you will get the complete date and time. If you use start date, you will get date, and end date is date. But when to use that? When you select this all day event, then you need to make sure that you are passing your event as an all day event. How you can make sure that? I'm going to show you over here that as well. Now if you have checked this checkbox which is saying all day event, what you can do is you can just go to the event reference, the link that you will be getting under the resources section as well. And if you scroll down over here, right, you might see one parameter for creating that event over here. So we are just inserting an event. If you go here, right, you see start, end. Okay, so if you want to make your event all day, what you need to do is inside your this request, right, where you sending date time, just send date. That's it. Don't send the date and time. If you send date and time, that means you are defining some time slots. If you are only sending the date, then you are saying that your event is full day event, and you can see here in the date it is nested object, sorry, end and start, and if you see start is date and date time. So that is what you need to pass there, but we are not going to see that, but I just wanted to tell you. So next what we got, owner ID, then we got start date time, end date time, and we also need to have the subject. That is what all these parameters we just queried, and we checked if event list is not empty, that means we have at least one event. Then we just we are following all those concepts over here. We got that event, we got the user email with the help of owner ID filter, and now here we are trying to prepare our body, the dynamic body that we are trying to prepare, right? We said email, and inside email we just put the email what we have gotten from here, right? So we have just used email, and we're just trying to format end date time and start date time. I will talk about this formatting thing once we have this subject, right? Let's talk about this formatting things first. If you have seen like this, you see, right, we have got 2020, which is year, date, sorry, month, and then we have got date, and it is saying that we need to have defining with the help of a time zone. We just say t, and then now it is HSMMSS. This is what we did right up to here, and then what it is saying that there should be an hyphen. We said hyphen and HSMM, hour and minute. So that is how we did formatted with the help of inbuilt method inside datetime class of Salesforce. We just used and provided like this is how we wanted to format our date, right? You might be thinking like what date actually we are getting, because we already have the date time and we are sending date time to Google. So why we are formatting this? So for that, if you open, I have just did thing, I said that there is one event, so hopefully there should be one event. I can just quickly check. If not, I'm just going to create an event so that we can see here. Okay, even though this is going to create an event in Google, but that's okay. So now I have got one event. If I did is I just tried to debug the start date time. Let's execute this and we'll see what value we get there. Okay, so if you see here, right, we get this value like this. There is a missing t between this time zone and t, and then there are missing all those rest formatting. That is why we are trying to format. Now we already have created an event, but still we will try to create another event for you. So what we'll go is we will do here, we'll go into the event and we will say Google Calendar event over here, and we're going to change the time, sum of the time here 8. So now we have saved this. I had a debug log turned on. I can just show this debug log. Now if we get back to debug log and try to load this, I can see I have got this feature handler, right? I can just go to view debug log. I can find user underscore debug, and okay, now you can see here we have got unexpected token in refresh token. Why we are getting this error? We should be getting system.callout exception no protocol, because there is no endpoint. What happening? Authentication credentials detail, invalid login cookie, something like that. Okay, so let's quickly see. Right, remember we did a refresh token, so we are going to do we are going to see that. And here we said if check this validity. Okay, it might got expired, so we said Google credential and then refresh token map and then access token. Okay, so if you remember, inside our refresh token we tried to deploy our metadata over here, right? Now let's try to comment out this metadata, whatever we try to deploy. Now we're just returning this token map. Okay, now let's again try to create a new event and we'll see what will happen this time. Again, I'm using the same subject because I don't need to change, and we just need to go to logs and we can see this feature handler. Again, we are getting the same error. Okay, we got the problem. If you see here in this endpoint, we have to define the token URL over here. So that was missed from our side, my side. I'm sorry for that. Now we can see that error. Okay, so instead of removing this, I wanted to show you the error, right? I can just comment out this because we're trying to deploy the metadata, and then again we try to create a new event. This time what will happen, when we try to create an event, it will validate the token, will find that token is invalid, it will try to get the token and then again deploy that. After deployment we are trying to make the call out. What will happen, let's see. Okay, we saved this. We are going to load new logs. We can see we have got this future handler and we got this queuable as well. So in the future handler, you can see the debug is more than the earlier one. It is now 56 KB. There is a big error we are getting. So let's open this. I will see here. You can see. Okay, and we can see. Yeah, you can see here, right? You have uncommitted work pending. Please commit or roll back before calling out. So what happens if you try to do any deployment, you try to make any DML before a call out, you get this error. That is why we are not deploying this inside the refresh token method. We're just returning that map, and after that we have got that map. Once we made the call out, then only we are deploying that. So this time we will just create a new event, and I will say a final event over here. Just save it. This time we should get we should not get that error. We got 39,000. That means we got the success response and the event has been created. If you find this, use debug. Now you can see the response code is 200 and we got our event created inside our Google Calendar. This time if you see, creator is the one that with the user we authenticated, and attendee is the other one who is the owner of that particular event record. So that is how we can create our event, and we can just pass the dynamic values. So this is it for this Google integration, and we have got one more assignment for you, which is you have to create a Lightning Web component which will take the necessary input from the user for creating an event. That means your UI should look like this. Like, what is the subject? You want it to locate a new fields like location. You can put that, and then you have got start date, end date, and then just create event. Click on create event. So creating an event, what it should do is it should create an event inside Salesforce event object, and rest your trigger will already do that because you already have that trigger in place for the event object. So you can just create your event inside Salesforce from the Lightning Web component, and make sure that your event is also getting created inside Google Calendar.